Welcome back to Everyday Garage, guys, and on this video we are going to get the driveline into this chassis. So excited about that, but unfortunately, like I kind of mentioned on a previous video, we have a little bit of backtracking to do. I have to actually go back in and make sure that the crank is concentric to the bell housing like they have to do on manuals. I still have to do that back in the day for this antique automatic transmission, and I did not do that before I sealed it up, so we're gonna have to kind of redo all that. But that's kind of just how this stuff goes. You just learn as you go, guys. All right, let's go ahead and get started. All right, guys, first thing is first is I need to lift the back up a little bit because I need to get the bell housing off. We will be checking concentric to the bell housing in a little bit, but like I said, I got to pop the flywheel off. So let's get that off, and also I need to check roundness of the flywheel, that kind of thing. Anyways, let's get that off and show you what we're doing. Now, I'm still going to leave it on the stand. It's still bolted in the front, so I think I'm just going to put a jack in front. All right. All right, that should do it. There it is. Come on. There we go. Oh. All right, guys, I have my magnetic dial indicator set up. Basically, just this outer flange. Hey, girl. You guys remember Pepper? Always curious. So all we want to do basically is check to see if this is, warped in any way or anything like that. So it's set at 0, and it's already just going to run along the outer edge where the bolt marks aren't. And we're just going to see. I can barely see over there, guys, so I need you to watch for me and let me know how bad it is. Just going to do one full revolution. So let's get at it. Now, I will say the spark plugs are not in it right now because I noticed that if I left compression in there, that it did kind of mess up the results a little bit. That is one full revolution. We are roughly 1 to 2 thousandths out, which is perfectly fine. The spec is within 5 thousandths, which would have put us up there. Hey, girl. So we're good. All right, guys, so we have to check for the run out on the Taurus cover. So basically, it's the same idea as the bell housing. It has 2 dowel pins, and these dowel pins are what centers it. And all I'm really doing is you can have it 180 out, basically. So there's going to be a side that has the least amount of run out. So it's either like this, where it connects, or you turn it 180, and that's going to have the least amount of run out. And basically, we need to test to see if, or basically test to see which side. Now, since normally they want you to mark it when you take it apart, so you can just put it back the same way, so you don't have to do this. But since this is a new Taurus cover, we need to kind of go ahead and do it. And then all it asks is run 4 bolts evenly across. That should just about do it. Now to find the best way to test it. And the run out we're testing is right along this edge here. Okay, guys, once again, I need you to go ahead and let me know how much out of round this is. Now, again, we're trying to keep it within 5 thousandths. Everything is set up. I have it already here where we need to go. So I'm just gonna go ahead and spin it around and hope this is good the way it is. Let's go a full revolution. All right, that should be roughly close to a full revolution, and I can already see we're about 3 or 4 thousandths off there. Let me go ahead and rewatch that footage, and let's see where we're at, guys. Well, as you guys already saw, we are about 6 thousandths out, which we're only allowed to have 5 thousandths, so I went ahead and already flip-flopped that to the other side, went ahead and measured that out, 180'd it, flipped it, flip-flop, that's what that means. Anyways, that's 8 thousandths out. So we're going to go ahead and stick with the 6 thousandths. The allowable is 5. The 1 thousandths shouldn't make that big of a difference as long as we're not like dramatically out of spec. I think we're going to be fine, guys. So we're going to go ahead and go with that original one. Now, I went ahead and marked it. So that one was already marked, so I left it. Can you guys see that? It's got like a little ding on it. And I went ahead and then, where is it? Marked up that side with its own little punched hole right there on the side. So that kind of gets that all situated. I'm glad I went ahead and did that because there definitely was a difference between the two. So now we can finally get that Taurus cover mounted up and put on the transmission so it can finally get mated together. We have one last thing to do, and it was kind of that backtracking part I was telling you about. I need to go ahead and just take the flywheel off. I cannot get my magnetic base to sit on this, unfortunately. I really don't want to. I was trying to find a way that I can get it to sit, but I can't at all. And to get a really accurate reading, it needs to ride on this part of it, or at least evenly on this, since we already know that this is pretty well in spec. So the best way to do it to get an accurate reading is to clean up all the edges around here and then take this off and let it ride on the actual crankshaft itself. That sucks, but that's what I'll do. So let me go ahead and pop it off and start cleaning that up, guys. Let's get it started. And these are 12 point, so just pop them right off. The downside is gonna have to be retorquing these bad boys. These were a pain in the butt to torque. Oh well. And then having to set top dead center again with the timing to the flywheel. But it's all part of it. I mean, what fun would it be doing it right the first time? All right, we're off. And remember, it's glued on here, so this should be fun to try to take off. Okay, a lot more dramatic than I needed it to be. But it's off, and it's not bad. Should be a quick cleanup, and we'll put it back on. And guys, like I already said, I already put this at top dead center, so I'm gonna put a little line here just to give me a rough idea that I'm back at top dead center. We'll go ahead and pop the valve cover and, you know, verify, do all the fun stuff, basically. Now, let me clean up this to make sure I'm getting an accurate reading. All right, we are all cleaned up, and I am filthy, and that took entirely way too long. Epoxy primer definitely holds on to the metal well. Let's go ahead and... Jeez, that's way too loud. Clean this up. Just wanted to make sure I didn't have any reason for the mating surfaces to be an issue. So we will go ahead and throw all of this on basically the same way. Now, who wants to take bets that this is actually going to, you know, be within spec? highly doubt it. It's just, you know, I'm not that lucky, guys. You know, it's not where my luck resides. Let's see, let's get these on the dowels. Oh, this might have to go back up in the air. Went a little low. Dang it, when I put it on the jack stand. Let me go ahead and get it back on the hoist. Okay guys, this is kind of what I've come up with. So since this has to actually turn on the crankshaft, it's not like I can just put a camera right here and we can see how it turns. So I went ahead and marked 4 separate points. And if I can get it within spec in those points, we're gonna call it good. So right now we're marked at 0 on the gauge. I don't know if you can see that with the light. So there's 0, we're at top. I'm just gonna go ahead and turn to here, check, turn to here, check, and turn to here, check. Now, everybody cross their fingers and toes, and let's hope we have to do this, because I really want this to be it for this part. All right, guys, let's get it done. All right, turn 1. Someone yell when I've gone too far. Let me see. It's hard to tell from over there. A little bit more. That's dead on the money. That cannot be right, guys. It says half a thou. What? I'll take it. So normally on a manual transmission, 7 thousandths is acceptable. For the Hydromatic, it needs to be within 0.25. So I'm not surprised that it's machined really tight, but I did not think to get this lucky. So let's cross fingers for the other two. We'll jump the gap here. There we go. And we're about 2 thousandths now. A little bit more. About dead on the money. Okay, there we go. Some variances. We're at 3 thousandths. I can't show you, it's a weird angle, but 1, 2, 3, dead on at 3. Now remember, I said 2.5 thousandths. There you go. So we're 0.5 over, but I am not going to worry about that. So let's go ahead and swing it to the last spot. And hopefully we don't get any wider. Come on. A little bit more. Ooh, went too far. Let's go back a little bit. That should work, whatever that is. And fortunately, it's a climb under. Oh, please don't be terrible. That can't be right at all. What happened there? No, what happened? How is everything right but that little side? Dang it. Yeah, I think I might have bumped it when I'm here. Let me go ahead, make sure everything's tight. Let's go ahead and run it through one more time. Yeah, because now it's way off. So something did get moved. I keep hitting my head on this damn thing and I've got a headache now. So I've been up and down trying to figure out the best way to go. So let me show you guys what I'm referencing. So here's the book here. It kind of shows a picture of it. This says flywheel rear housing. This is what you're supposed to reference, which is exactly this right here. Now, I tried a bunch of times off camera just to try to skip, and I was always kind of messing up the dial indicator. So as you can see here, let me turn the light on a little brighter. I went ahead and just used this inner area. It didn't say to reference this. It really kind of talks about using out here, but they should be relatively the same. I was getting really good readings from here to here within 2 to 3 thousandths, and from here 2 to 3 thousandths. So I went all the way around on this, and I'm getting a 4 thousandths variance max. So we're gonna run it. I know it does say 2.5 thousandths, but I would have to go get offset dial pins to fix, what, 1.5 thousandths? I'm not gonna do that. So I just don't think it's gonna be that serious. You guys drop down in the comments if any of you guys are familiar with this, if I'm doing this wrong, what could I possibly change or fix or anything. I am gonna go ahead, by the end of this video, it's gonna be installed in the chassis, but at least you could let me know what I could have done wrong and I could maybe fix it if it's that off. But this seems close enough not to go through the effort of getting offset dial pins. That said, guys, I know I don't really actually know what I'm doing, so that's my best guess at it. Again, let me know if I'm messing that up, guys. But we're gonna call that good. And yeah, I need to stop hitting my damn head. Because it's not knocking sense into me. I'm definitely losing a few every time. One last thing I want to do before we kind of just start mating stuff together and going, since that pretty much gives me the green light, is we need to come over here and check this out. I talked about this in a previous video. So the transmission mounts are here and here, and then it shoots back this way and mounts to the rear here into the torque tube. I'm really worried about these proportioning valve lines. I have a feeling that they're gonna get in the way, and I just wanna check that now. So let's go ahead and pop that bell housing off, pop it onto the transmission, and just see how close we are. If I get away with that not being an issue too, this day is gonna be one heck of a success. You know, now that I said it, it's not gonna be, but let's go ahead and see how it goes. We got this bad boy back up in the air. We haven't worked on the transmission in a while. So now that we know everything, relatively fits, close enough. This is its permanent home. It actually just gets bolted straight here, and then eventually everything kind of slams back on. So I'm going to use red Loctite this time. I know people don't like red, but red is what I have, and honestly, you can always break it free with a little bit of heat if it is being stubborn. But it is a pretty important bolt. This holds the transmission and the engine up pretty much. So get that all locked in. Ooh, going the wrong direction there, kid. There we go. All right, and let's go ahead and get these torqued down, and then I'll bring it over there and see how well it matches up. All right, this torque tube is supposed to be on this jack's end here, but it always falls off. There it is. Let's see. Yeah, it has to come way over. Trying to see if I could tuck it under. Yeah, it's gonna be an issue. Yeah, I figured as much. Too lucky to have everything work out. Let's try to keep getting it. See if I can slip it under. Because it is pretty low. How about that, huh? Yeah, no. Damn it. So this is kind of what I thought would happen. We're pretty much, I don't know, like 3/16 of the way there. This needs a lot more clearance. This just sticks out too far. Now I know this kit is for the truck, but of course it's not taking into consider this. There's a hydromatic transmission. This would easily work with, you know, the stock transmission. So I was already thinking of things that I could do, but just looking at it now, this top here clears. So if I flip this proportional valve this way and then create new lines that wrap around, it'd save me. Because I was thinking I would just go get a master cylinder that had ports on this side. You can get a 4-port master cylinder and just run it this way. But I could probably save myself money since I already have line and just run the line this way. I think that's what I'm gonna do. And then that means this is out of the way, this could slip in, and then this will be above where the transmission and linkage is anyways. Yeah, guys, that's the plan. Now, before we get started on that, guys, what I want to do is pressure wash the frame so that we can slowly kind of wash away the sins that I've committed on this thing. It's got a little bit of OSFO. It's been, you know, dirtied up and covered over the last couple months. So let's go ahead and push it out, get it out here, pressure wash it down, start kind of fresh. And then we'll come through and kind of rattle can some of the, again, covering the sins that I've kind of committed on this in these areas. Basically freshen it up, get it ready to go. Then we'll hit the brake system, guys. Let's get this thing out and ready to go. Here we are back inside. The frame is already back in here. I went ahead and sanded everything down. I have it all kind of ready to go. And I've definitely already degreased it again. Hit it with some spray away cleaner, which is over here. Don't mind the dirty shop. And cleaned up the frame. So it's actually pretty ready to go. I went ahead and taped this stuff off because I hate the way that painted hardware looks. I know some people prefer painted hardware. I don't like it. So this is all kind of done up, ready to go. I actually already hit the other side, if you can see. Came up pretty good. Did cover up a lot of the sins. And again, I'm just gonna use the chassis black, the original stuff that I used for it. I did spray this before, but the upside is it does come in a rattle can form. So hopefully we can just, you know, look, it never happened, guys, just like that. These will need 2 coats in some areas. I do know that, but I don't want to cake it on. See, I didn't idiotically mess this paint up. Just gotta knock this out real quick. And let me put a mask on. I'm an advocate of wearing a mask, guys. You know, try to save yourself in the future. Now, where did I put it? Organization, not my strong suit. While we have the spray paint going ahead and drying, so I can't really touch the frame, let's go ahead and get this crankshaft sealed up again. Now, for those of you that didn't see my engine build video, go ahead and check that out here. You're gonna like that one. That one is a video I do like. But this crankshaft has to be sealed up because the, again, I already talked about antique transmission stuff. Instead of all the fluid being held in the torque converter, it actually seals to the flywheel and the crankshaft. like that. So it needs to be all sealed up. So there's normally a gasket that goes here. The gasket is paper thin. So the easiest thing to do instead of trying to hunt one down, well, they don't exist, make one out of some paper thin stuff, is just to run some RTV. Now this here is ATF safe RTV. Definitely want to be using that stuff. So a thin layer all the way around to seal it all the way up. No big deal. And it does come with an O-ring. This O-ring I had to track down on my own because it did not come with the transmission rebuild kit. If anyone is interested in this, just hit me up at my email. It's down in the description, and I can get you a link to this stuff. It's not really worth putting it all out there because I think there's like a handful of people that are going to use this antique transmission. And I jumped ahead. I totally forgot. Oh no. Well, that's going to harden for a second. We need to time this. Again, like I talked about, this is timed to the flywheel. So I need to make sure this is at top dead center. Now to do that, just pop the valve cover, obviously, and we'll spin it over. I did mark the crank kind of where top dead or bottom dead center is basically. And we'll pop this off. I need to change this gasket anyway, so we'll leave it off. But we already should be pretty close. Which is funny, are we? Roughly. Okay, so we should be able to put it on there. And there's only 6 positions this thing can possibly go. So it shouldn't be too confusing. We know the mark is roughly there, which means we should be able to just get right about there. That should be right. At least I hope. I'm actually kind of scared. You know what? At this point, let's check the distributor. I should be pointing at cylinder number 1. Not quite. Damn. Nice. That is roughly where we need to be. Pointed at cylinder 1, all the valves are loose. And now we bring it in. And that should be pretty confident about where we need to go. Oh, let's not let the O-ring fall out. Come on. Oh, confidently enough, we're gonna call that good. And if it's not, you know, we'll just have to, take it apart and retime it properly, which will suck. But I think I'm pretty confident. All the indicators show that that should be right where it is. All right, so as you can look down there, I got a breaker bar hanging off the front. So that will eventually hit the ground, hopefully, right? Did I go the wrong way? I went the wrong way. Dang it. There you go. And should give me leverage to... There it is. Now I'm starting at 60, which I imagine all of them are already at. Because of the impact. This one isn't. There we go. Perfect. Now all the way to 105 foot-pounds. Wow, that was dramatically easier than the engine build video if you guys saw that one. And that marks this as done. Actually, one last thing, guys. We need to put the pilot bearing in. So this is the actual pilot bearing. This is... I will put it down in the description because it's not, I don't think the numbers aren't here are going to help. But BR7, well, there it is. I remember now. 7109 pilot bearing. This is Timken. Now, again, for the 1000th time, all ETF. So I'm not going to pre-grease it or do any of that stuff. I'm actually going to put the ball bearings outward and make sure there's ATF in there and around it, because once it's all in there, it's going to be continuously lubed by the transmission. So that's just gonna go right in there like that. And I didn't bring a hammer, did I? I thought I did. It is around here. I do remember a hammer. Hammer achieved. There we go. And that should do it. Perfect. Pilot bearing in. Well, and just like that, guys, it is the next day. I went ahead and went inside after I got everything kind of done. That way the paint had plenty of time to dry. It was still kind of tacky, but man, does that frame look better. So much better. Really happy with that. Again, it's not perfect. I just didn't want it to look horrible after all of that work I did to get it looking good. Now, since we have the engine pretty much ready to go for the transmission to bolt up, we can actually just get the transmission ready. And all we have to do for that, guys, is get the Taurus con. Basically, for you guys who aren't familiar with this, it's basically like putting together a torque converter, except it's like a 3-piece torque converter. It's not a torque converter for the people who do know, and they'll get irritated. It's a Taurus, and it's not the same thing, but the same idea. One piece of R3, and it just slides on and goes into that seal and over an oil ring. Just need to get it into that oil ring. There we go. Perfect. Goes in just like that, seals up. And it does have a drain plug. I already went ahead and plugged that, and we are good to go. Next on the list is the Taurus member. It kind of just looks like one half of a torque converter. And that goes on here. Let me go ahead and lube those splines. Just like that. Now, this is a little tight because those of you who haven't seen the part where I rebuilt the transmission, I had to get a different Planet carrier. It's a bit tight on that carrier. But it does fit once it gets on there. Come on. There we go. Just wanted to be a little bit of a pain in the butt. All right, and then just a snap ring. This is the original snap ring pliers. I was able to locate them. Don't need it, but I've said before, I kind of nerd out on the original tools. Come on, there you go. You got it. There it is. Perfect fit. There we go. Now, it's a check valve. Just goes on there like that. Perfect. So 1, 2, and our third piece. It's funny, it actually makes reference to the snap ring, and that's why I forgot it, as needing the Taurus member to rest against it, but it never actually talks about installing it. And that just goes right on here first. Come on. There we go. And seats there. And that's kind of like a stop for the Taurus. Then we install all this. And Taurus member, you know, eventually I get it right. Should just go straight in. Yeah, now it's hitting right up against that snap ring. Oh, there it is. Then there is this locking tab. And, you know, I should have everything where I needed it. I'm off camera right now, guys. And this huge, huge nut, guys. Oh, I need to bang that. Oh, darn. I need to bang that tab flat. All right, try 6,000. One more time, you know? You know, if I got it right the first time, what fun would that be? There we go, come on. There we go. Now, locking tab and nut. Thing about this nut, guys, it is 1 7/16. Huge. Now I had to actually go get a socket for this because you're supposed to torque this to spec. That was ridiculous. I had to drive everywhere to find one of these. No, and I needed a deep socket. Oh, I'm so mad. That's terrible. Oh, that sucks. It kind of, you know, I can get it to work like that. It doesn't seat all the way, but it's enough to where I can get engagement. It only needs to be torqued to like 50 foot-pounds, so it's not that difficult. Now, as you see, it just kind of turns. So what we need to do is put the shift lever on here and kick it into reverse. And you just slide it on. It is splined, so it only really goes on one way, but I think all the way back is reverse, right? Yeah, you heard that lock? That's the parking paw locking this in reverse. So, right, so this won't turn anymore. Oh, that fell out while I was messing with it, didn't it? I will never find that adapter again. Damn it. I will get back to you guys. Anyone telling me that it was sitting right here? I searched everywhere for it. I looked back on the video and I literally just set it here. Absent-mindedness. Jesus. Anyways, back to what was I doing? Tightening this. Man, it's enough engagement. I should be able to tighten it pretty well. We're just gonna get it nice and snug. And then I'll pull out the torque wrench. Perfect. That'll work. And then with that, we just smash over the locking tabs again. There it is. All right. 2 spots, we'll consider that done. And that actually officially marks off the transmission being done. That took forever. If you haven't seen those videos, I'll put a link here. They're not my best. I was still trying to figure out how to, you know, stumble through life on video with having no idea what I was doing. But if you're interested, I'll put them there. Now, let's wheel this thing over and mate it up. Again, this just bolts to the transmission, the flywheel here. Let's get that done. All right, guys, this is the weird little contraption I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to marry these together here. I have it on my chair slash, you know, dolly, and we're gonna try to run it straight into here. Now, there is an actual gasket that came with the kit, but I lost it, which is a story of my life. So we're gonna do the exact same thing we did for the crank. Can never think of anything. I'm gonna put a little bit of, basically create an RTV gasket here. Just making sure I have it everywhere. And then it also has an O-ring. Downside to this O-ring is I'm having a heck of a time trying to get it. I was trying to pre-fit it to see how it was gonna do. Not very well, let's just say that. So we're gonna have to maybe use a little RTV to keep it in place. It just wants to keep falling out. I'm hoping now that this transmission, before the engine wasn't angled up like it is now. So hoping that makes a difference. Look, I know the RTV isn't the all to end all. There are other gasket makers. This one's just ATV safe. It's what I have. It's what I'm gonna use. If it doesn't work, well, I'm gonna try to track down a gasket. I know the guy that I used to get the rebuild kit from has more. I can try to get one from him. But this is a gasket maker, so we will go for it. And there it is, guys. All RTV'd. Now, this gasket does fit, or O-ring I should say. Now it is a square cut, and it's not a tight fit. It's not like it's just going to like rubber band around it. I just need to get it to stay. Kind of a pain, but let's see, yeah. Come on. Just, you know, do what you're told. It's just slightly smaller. Come on. See if I can use this tool here. If anybody's thinking I'm making a complete mess, I absolutely am. I'm just trying to figure out how to keep it in place. I'm not gonna admit this is going well. Yeah, I really don't know how you guys do it. Why won't you stay in? Stay. If I take that tape off, it is immediately coming off. I'm gonna figure this out, guys. I'll get back to you. Said you watching me 8.5 hours of me fighting this. see if we can get this on camera. So basically, I'm just giving it a good pre-stretch, and yeah, the RTV is starting to set up, so we gotta move now. Did reapply a little bit, and with the pre-stretch, I can get it in. It definitely, you know, jumps back to where it belongs. So it does pop back out, so if we can get it in. Again, it's taking me forever now that I turned on the camera. So, there. Now it's seated. Come on, don't be a pain in the butt. So let's roll this over and get this in. Just a little there. Now I've already lined up those tabs that we talked about. So the dowel pins are where they need to be. Come on. How do I get, where's that dowel pin need to be? Right there. Lower the engine. Oh, too much. How's that? Are we still where we need to be? And the O-ring already popped. Of course, I didn't have all day. So stretch it again, shove it back in. You know, I'll be able to do this all day now that I figured out the little stretch technique. Some of you may have been yelling at the screen, but hey, you live and learn. Goes right in like that. That's hilarious. Come on. Oh my God. Don't. Almost dropped the transmission. Come on, transmission. There you guys go. Okay. Try to do this and not die, Jason. Or break things. Preferably both. There it is. That looks better. There we go. Hey. Well, the battery died, but that was not my finest moment, guys. That was way worse than I thought it was. Definitely should have trialed that O-ring a lot more than that. Anyways, it is in. I just got it all torqued in. There you go. So we have all of our bolts in here. So the RTV can set up just the way it needs to. Everything is torqued into the bell housing. So it's on. Whether or not that is going to seal, it won't. Let's be honest. But we're going to try because I'm not going to fight that again. Yeah, it's time to move on from this. In my defense though, guys, it actually does say in the manual for the truck, start seal into groove at top of flywheel. Then with thumbs at either side of the starting point, work seal into groove. At the same time stretching seal slightly. That was the key, but several trials may be necessary to obtain proper amount of stretch. So it may take a while, is what it's saying. I'm not the only one that was having a problem. It says, you know, you may struggle. I probably should have found a better place to throw that. All right, guys, what I want to do is change the oil. I kind of, as you can tell, it's actually been wheeled over on my little dolly. This dolly was not meant to hold this much weight, so I don't want to leave it on here too long. I need to change the oil in this real quick because it still has a break-in oil from when we broke in the cam. If you haven't seen that video, guys, do go check that out. And all the moly and all the break-in lube and all that stuff is in there. I want to get that all out real quick, put another amount of break-in lube, and then we'll be ready to go. So let's see what this oil looks like. Now, before I even drain the oil itself, let's go ahead and see if we can get this filter off. Ow. No, and I want to get it off because it's going to be awkward draining it with a full pan. What does that look like? This way. Oh, there we go. Okay. That'll work. Oh yeah, you can see the moly in it, guys. I'll show you. You see all that up there? All that kind of like blackish gray, that's all the moly, and that's what I wanted to get out of there. Man, it's full. And it's thick coming out of the filter. So one thing that I looked up and why I wanted to change is, most of you guys may know, but if you don't, breaking in these engines, the moly can actually clog the filter up, drop your oil pressure, stuff like that. You definitely want to get it out as soon as you can after breaking the cam. There we go. Oh yeah, it's filling all the way up with the moly. All right, oil's all drained out. Actually already have the drain plug back in, and I had to swap pans. You can see this thing got super full. I forgot that that thing is 8 quarts, so it takes a ton of oil. So here is the old filter with the new filter, and the weight difference is insane. I know I mentioned it already, but it's definitely all that moly. I'm really glad I got that out, because you can dump a little bit of oil and it stops, and then it kind of starts to move again, but it is just stuck in there, and that's from all that paste. So, and what's gonna go back in is brake-in oil. So, the 30 weight Lucas brake-in oil. So let's go ahead and just screw it in. Like I said, the drain plug's already back in. I just wanna fill this up. Upside to this oil, guys, is I see 0 sparkles. It is all the way out. It is completely drained, and I haven't seen anything, which is obviously a really good sign. So hopefully our cam is good. There it is. Now I'm putting oil in now, even though this engine is not gonna run for a while, mainly because this engine is not gonna run for a while. And then don't forget, I didn't put oil in it, and I'll ruin a perfectly good engine. So there, that should top it off. So far I've put about 7 quarts in, because I had some left over, and then I put what was rest of what I used to fill up the oil filter in. That didn't go in there. We'll see where we're at. I was already kind of looking at it. It says we're pretty much full, which I doubt. It needs to circulate and settle a little bit. But I will check it before I run it. Remind me to do that. But we're definitely above the low line, which means we're at least in a safe range. And I don't want to overfill it, so we will leave it like it is now and let it settle. All right, that is out of the way. Now, one last thing to do, and we will throw this engine in the chassis. Now, by last thing, I mean the front engine mount. So I have the original metal for the engine mount here, and what happens is you take brand new rubber, place it in just like that, and simply cover it up. Then I actually ordered new bolts, you know, through, I think it was like LMC or something, motor mount bolts, but they came as 7/16. These are 3/8 holes. Even in the chassis, it's a 3/8 hole. So I went and ordered some grade 8 3/8. A little bit long, but I think I'll probably end up leaving them. Anyways, they go in just like that and bolt straight into the chassis. And then you put this on after you bolt it in, dimples for the heads here, and then run the motor through. Well, here's my idea. Good, bad, indifferent, this is what I'm doing. So, ratchet strap to the front underneath the actual mount. And again, ratchet strap back here on the transmission. Hopefully this holds up. This is the first time I've ever had to have this hoist on the 1-ton setting. It's always on the 1/4 ton, because this is gonna be one heavy load. So let's see what we got here. Oh, you can feel it's heavy. Oh, it's stable. Yeah, it doesn't feel too heavy. My thing is, can I get it high enough? Maybe. Okay, I think we're doing okay. Now, it's not showing on camera probably, but I did take those lines out for the proportioning valve that were in the way. So hopefully they're not gonna be, well, it's not gonna be a problem is what I'm saying. Okay, you know, the little grooves in the concrete are getting me. Okay, there we go. Is it tall enough? Just barely, it's not making it. Come on, no, don't just crash into my frame. Okay. What's going on? The wheels aren't wanting to turn. Okay, we're okay. Ooh, okay, that was way too much. Okay. That's absolutely not gonna work. Well, I did not see that coming. Here's the issue, guys. You see these are about to go in to where they need to. I can maneuver that. The filter is hitting right here. I mean, look at all the room. There's nothing that goes there. That one space is where it hits. Even if it came in more, it wouldn't be a problem, but I have to take it off now. Now, instead of just taking it off, what I'll do is, I think I'm just gonna undo here and let it dangle, and then we'll have to remove, you know, relocate it. All part of hot rodding, I guess, guys. All right, let me do that. Well, next crisis. It's not just one, it has to be at least be two. So all the stuff you modify. So obviously our brake bracket is hitting up against here. Upside is, I think if I shaved it enough that, I mean, that's all it really needs. I mean, look at the whole difference. It's just right there. But what do? Just take the whole master cylinder out is I think what I'm gonna have to do. All right, let me pull this out, guys. I'll get you back to you. Now, with that master cylinder out, which fought me every step of the way, of course, I went ahead and got a bolt in for the mount there and a bolt in for the mount there. So we're good. We're definitely not on the chassis yet. Should be really good and lined up. Sorry, there you guys go, underneath here. So let's go ahead and put the weight on the chassis and see what happens. Well, little moment of truth. Ooh, you definitely felt it, that. First time I've seen that leaf springs flex at all. That's it, engine's in. It's all in. That's so cool. All right, guys, and now we just need to get these mounts secured, which is right underneath there. So those two are our engine mounts, and these are, you know, the ones that were too long. You know what I'm saying? I always, you know, too many words. So, right there, just a quick rundown. Using nylon lock nuts just to make sure that it goes in good, but that should be just about perfect. Little, you know, there it is. There we go. No, here, maybe? No. Yeah, it's good. These are a little bit more of a pain in the butt. They are right up into here, and I can't really reach my fingers. So, going to try and start it. Yeah, I don't have enough room on this one with the socket. So just reach up. There we go. Yeah, I am. And there it is with the engine and transmission finally in it. First time any drivetrain has been in this chassis since, I don't know, like November of last year. Just check this bad boy out. Beautiful. Oh, I'm so excited. And I know, guys, we got issues. We got the oil filter that needs a new mounting, but it's just brackets and, you know, stuff. It's gonna be a pain, but we'll figure it out. It's not that big of a deal. And I'm pretty confident I get that brake system to fit. If not, we'll just figure something out. I mean, that's just part of what we're doing here. It's just, you know, there's no kits for the hydromatic transmission, and hot rodding is just kind of what it is. And I'm only doing it I'm keeping so much stock to this truck. I just want to upgrade it here and there. Now, for those of you guys that have been paying attention and have seen the ring on my finger, yes, I am actually married now. No, the truck obviously did not make it. This big pain in the butt did not want to show up for the wedding. It fought me tooth and nail every way. It is something that me and my wife discussed about a month out from the wedding, and we knew it wasn't going to happen. So it just is what it is. It was a big bummer, but that's also a big reason why there wasn't a lot of videos in April. We just stopped, focused on the wedding, made sure we got past it. But now, if you guys are liking the videos, and if you've already been subscribed, thank you so much. Videos are coming out every Friday morning from now on, I promise. And if you're new to the channel, thank you again. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Again, videos will be coming out every Friday. And I'm just excited, guys, for everything that has forward. And even though we didn't make it for the wedding, we do have plenty of like camping and travel things planned for this truck. So there are going to be plenty of memories me and her are going to share in this. With that, guys, thank you. That's a video. I will catch you on the next one. And like always, guys, if I can do any of this, and barely, if I can do any of it, so can you. I'll catch you guys on the next one.